2025's Bigfoot Endurance 10-mile race. This is going to be covering the 10-mile race. This is going to be happening on March 2nd, 2025. And before we get too deep into this breakdown, please make sure you like, subscribe, share if you are interested in any coaching assistance or need any tips, tricks, feedback, or anything like that. Coaching consult, please reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you achieve all of your race day success out there. So again, March 2nd, this is happening in Maryland. It's a wild card for weather right now, but we do want to get this webinar, this race video out there for you just so you can kind of do a little bit more planning. First off, they're probably going to be in contact with you in the days and the weeks leading up to the race here, a little bit ahead of the game here. But scrolling down here, you're going to get a lot of useful information like the race location. This is the race website, or the race website, the race address. You can just plug that into your GPS. Scrolling down here, we have the 5 or the 10-mile options. It's going to be important later on. Race info, if you scroll down, you're going to see everything that you are seeing right here. Starting with packet pickup, you have 2 options starting with Saturday, March 1st, and that's going to happen at the White Oak Tavern. Could be worse places to pick up your packet, or you can do it on race day on Sunday, March 2nd, 7:30 to 9. You have to do it before the race starts, and that is race day. So if you are waiting for race morning to pick it up, just make sure you plan to arrive a little bit earlier to take care of those things. And just again, before we move off of packet pickup, the packet pickup is going to include your bib, timing chip, and your shirt. Scrolling down, you do have a couple of race day change opportunities, bib transfers, and then the race day schedule, which is, of course, subject to change, probably based off of weather or park availability. 7 a.m. is going to be your packet pickup opening, and that wave 1 of 3 wave starts happens at 9. Wave 2 is 9:03, and wave 3 is 9:06. The 10-miler second loop course cutoff, so you must start that second loop by, or finish that second loop, by 10:46 a.m. Wave starts. This is really important. The 5 and the 10-mile waves are going to start at the same time. So if you're in wave 1 and you're running the 5-miler, you're going to start at the same time as someone who is in wave 1 doing the 10-miler. They break it down further by 9-minute pace or faster is going to be in wave 1 or expected. Wave 2 is 9:30 to 11 minutes per mile, and then wave 3 is 11:01 and slower will be released then. I don't know if it's going to be self-seated or things like that. I'm sure you have to sign up and select it, so you might be assigned a wave. If you feel like you should be in a different wave, just reach out to them. Run course, you can view the course map here. You can view the venue map here. So if we do click that one, this is going to be what opens up for you. The course map for you is listed right here as well. Before we dive into the course specifics, let's just talk about the elephant in the room, which is the water stations. They clearly state there is no water station on the 5-mile loop. However, once you cross the 5-mile barrier here, the 5-milers are going to be done, and you are going to go up for your second loop. You are going to have a water station that is happening at 5.1 miles, very conveniently placed. But they suggest that you do carry a Camelback. They suggest that you carry all of your nutrition, and I would also concur with that assessment. So plan ahead. This is going to be a race where you are going to have to plan ahead if you want race day success. Bathrooms, porta potties are going to be stationed at the start and finish line. So again, no aid stations, no water stops. So again, planning ahead, there's a little extra things to do to plan ahead. Awards, we have the awards listed right here. So let's dive in a little bit more nitty-gritty to our race venue here, our race elevation. This is the 5-mile loop, so we are going to be running this we're going to be doing this 2 times. We do have 365 feet of elevation gain, but a couple of quick notes here. It's going to be a little bit different. We do have a couple of GPS jump spots mixed in here. They're primarily right here. So this could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more. If you do go back to their map, which is located right here, this is going to be what's happening where the GPS jumps are happening as well. But this is the course that they have laid out. This is the course that I have laid out for you here. And with that, a couple of unique things happen. So before we talk about elevation specifics and all that good stuff, a couple of really interesting things that you need to know about this course. This is our start and finish spot right here. And as you make your way around here, it's pretty straight lines for a little while here. And then once you get over into this section right here, then it starts to get a little bit different and it does cool off. And there's a healthy mix of straight lines, a little bit of zigzag, and that's going to come in, it's going to be more apparent in a second here. And then we do a little loop-de-loop, and then it does start to go side to side, right? And then it just really straightens out. There's not a whole lot. There are some twists and turns over here, but primarily you're not going to really experience them until you get to about 12 or 2.1 miles into your course. There's a couple of spots that you do have to be aware of, a couple of tight turns, but other than that, it's pretty wavy, it's pretty normal. And then once you get to this spot, it is on a downhill, so you are going to be going to have to be careful about surroundings, footing, all of that good stuff, and just some of these twisting, turning sections. You're not ever really running straight here. You're always constantly turning, zigging, and zagging, and it does straighten out a little bit here for a little while, but there is a couple of turns that you're going to have to be aware of. So if it is a little bit muddy out there, slippery, slick, depending on if there's snow, ice, whatever, these are some of the areas where you are going to have to be paying attention here. Up this hill right here, again, there are a couple, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. And then once you get back to this section over here, this is going to be where the terrain does kind of pick up a little bit, and that's going to be on one of the softer sections of our course. Back through here, lots of turns before we start heading up, and then it gets very, very busy. Lots of turns. You are going uphill, but that doesn't really mean anything in terms of the twisting and turning. And the reason I bring all of this up is because to highlight this. When you do twist and turn, depending on what kind of runner you are, if you are a powerful runner and one that explodes out of those turns, you're going to be doing that off of the inside foot. You're going to be leaning into it. If that is the case and it is slippery and you lean a little too far, you're going to open yourself up to sliding and slipping out and just losing your footing a little bit easier if you go over some leaves and things like that. If you are a runner that kind of uses the outside leg to get around some of those corners here, again, you're going to have to be mindful of that. You're going to lose a little bit of speed going into and out of those corners. Building back up to speed is going to be a little bit more tough for you, but you're going to have to gauge how those turns happen on race day and how comfortable you are at going fast. Again, keep in mind this is just one loop of our course, so you're going to have to do this a second time. So before we do that, let's dive into how you should attack this course. All right, so we are starting off of our course here. We are going to experience a little bit of an uphill. This section right through here is a little bit, let's change it to an arrow here. This area out on course is a little bit of a wild card for us right through here. Again, we do have a couple of GPS jumps. It's a little bit up and down, and it's not super straightforward. If you are looking for that point on the map, that is this section right through here before we start to experience some of those twists and turns. Luckily for us, they do happen going on an uphill. So again, we're not even a mile into our race, and if we really highlight this whole thing of our 365 feet, we've already done about 71 as is written here. So you do experience a good, healthy amount of elevation here, and this is going to be an opportunity for everyone to kind of explode a little bit out here. It's a double-edged sword, right? You do have to go a little bit harder than you want to right here. You are going to be greeted with a nice little downhill during this section right here. So you do have the capability and affordability to go a little bit harder here. Once you enter this circle here, you are going to slowly start to go down, tick down, and then from this point all the way, if you're following the orange dot up there, to about right there once you cross that river or creek, then things do kick up a bit. This section is a must go in my mind. You do have to put the effort down a little bit more if you are going to be a medal contender. Finisher, someone competing for a best time here. This is just going to be a steady effort. You're not going to be totally crushing this. You're going to get up this. If you do look at the percentages here, it's about a 4% elevation gain. We're not going to experience our steepest point on course, but you are going to experience some elevation gain for sure. Once you crest this at 1.5-ish miles, again, this is the portion of the course where it's a little bit more straightforward. You have clear lines that you can see in front of you for the most part, and you're going to be able to see what you're doing. This is a downhill, and this is, in my mind, up until about 1.8. This is going to be a section that you do let gravity take you. You do kind of explore what is possible for you out there. You're not going 100%, but you are putting some speed down, maybe catching a couple people napping on this downhill section. There is a jagged area right through here. Just to kind of highlight that a little bit more. This section right through here. This section, again, this is going to be another area that is going to sneak up on a lot of people. So make sure you are ready for this section. You're using this section, this downhill section, as an area to kind of recover, but also go fast here. Maybe get your heart rate down a couple of beats, that kind of stuff. And then once you hit this section over here, kind of the double hill right here, this is going to be where you are going to catch people napping, or you're going to be able to maintain it a lot easier with everyone else if you are ready to kind of go here. We do have false flat, kind of a downhill section right here. If you're looking for that point out on the map, that is going to be starting from right here and then continuing onwards until we hit our hill right there before we cross that road up there. This hill, again, this is going to be an area where I would suggest you kind of go a little bit harder. And it's all controlled pace right here, nothing crazy, but the reasoning for that is to kind of wake your legs back up to uphill running for this hill, this very, very important hill right here later on. We are going to be able to climb up it, and you do have a brief break, but again, this is going to be a section where you do have a steeper downhill, right? You might not be able to recover for very long here, and if you are not comfortable running down hills or a steep grade, then you might not be able to recover a lot either, so just be careful there, know who you are. And once you get to this point here, again, this isn't a super straight line, but you will be able to see in front of you and know what you're doing. This is our zigzag portion of the course, our little Z or S, depending on how you're looking at it. And once you hit this downhill, things change a little bit. I alluded to that earlier with the turns, the twists, the loss of line of sight out on this section, of course. There's a lot of bends, a lot of twists back here. We do have a downhill, right? And that is going to get our speed up. We do have a couple of turns that you need to be mindful of. They're not crazy sharp, but they're there. You're going to have a little bit of stuff to deal with. And then once you get back to this section over here, it's going to start to kick up. So once you get to about 3.6 miles into your loop, on that first loop, now it's kind of go time a little bit. Effort level needs to be high, or to say it another way, the effort needs to be able to go high here. So if you've totally just put all your matches out there before you've reached this point, that is not what you want to do. Because you need some of those matches to climb up here, and this is going to be where you are going to experience the steepest portion of our course right through here. And again, it's very busy. There's lots of twists, lots of turns. We do have a downhill, and again, it's about 5% down as the max grade, negative slope here. And then we climb again up to the finish line. So from 3.6 to our 5, that is an area where you need to be ready to work, okay? And that is the first loop here. So to start out, just to recap here really quick, you're going to start out not super crazy, but then you need to start putting the power down if you're not really ready to go right away. After that point, ride some of those downhills, but never ever be napping, because once you hit some of those areas, that's going to be where you need to have some effort to kind of go back up. Don't use all of your matches early on in the race. You really, really, really need to save some energy for our final climbs up to the finish line. And then you start your second loop, 5.1. You're going to have access to water. If it is freezing or if it's really, really cold, you might not have access to it because it will be frozen. So again, plan ahead of time and just be aware of what's happening weather-wise, and also out there on the race site. I would plan on bringing stuff with you so you can actively be fueling as you go. The Camelback's not a bad idea if you want to run with a handheld, maybe run with a handheld, but definitely bring your nutrition with you, because that is going to come in handy, because we have a second loop to go. Things do change a little bit out here on our second loop. This hill that was at the very beginning, now this is it's not the start. It's not really, really critical that you really hold yourself back. The effort level needs to be high up here. And then this section, you can kind of cruise, or that would be my strategy here. And this is going to be a reoccurring theme here for our second loop here. This hill right here, this is your go point, 2, 3 area, 4 kind of. I'm going to call that 4A and 4B, and then 5 and 6 right here. So you have 6 real steady opportunities for you to really sustainably put that power out. You're also going to have a couple of areas that you are going to be able to have your elevated speed, which is going to happen here, 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 right there, and then for pretty much there for the last time over there. What that means for you is a couple of different things. It's going to be really, really common for athletes to hit the first half of this course here, and I'll draw a little line for everyone. Let's call it about right there. It's going to be really common for athletes to hit this section of road trail and say, you know what, I've done this again, I'm feeling good or not, and I'm gonna see what I can do on this loop. And what always happens is people just elevate a little too high. So what I would suggest for you, if you finish that first loop and you had a decent time, you're like, wow, this is going really well, so maintain that pace, maintain that. And if you get into this area right here and you say, okay, I'm really feeling good, I feel like I can push this a little bit more, go for it. But the trap that everyone gets into is during this point in time, they really, really think, okay, I'm going to drop 20 seconds per mile on this loop, or I'm going to drop a whole minute, and that's just not realistic for most people unless you started off really, really slow. So know yourself and know the critical points on race day for you to kind of attack. If you are having a good day, that's great, awesome. But I wouldn't wait till this section here. If you're having a fantastic day, I might move that to this section or this section a little bit earlier on the second loop to kind of, let it rip for a little while. So that's the Bigfoot 10 miler run race that we got for this year, 2025 edition. Pretty crazy still. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to talk to you, do a little consult, or if you want to do some coaching, I'm also available for you guys. Good luck to everyone racing on this 2025 edition.